Did all the time, pretty consistently. I'm not quitting today. I don't believe, and I just talked to the president, I don't think I'm being fired today. I am not so frustrated in this job that I'm thinking of leaving. So unless things change, I'm not quitting, I'm not getting fired, and I don't think I'll fire anyone tomorrow.
More on the unusual appearance there in the White House briefing room today. The man who reportedly leads containment strategies for a, quote, unhinged president.
It's funny, I read in the paper, well, you all know, you write it, that, I've been a failure at controlling the president, or a failure at controlling his tweeting and all that. I was not sent in, or I was not brought to this job to control anything but the flow of information to our president, so that he can make the best decisions.
What about when that flow of information comes from Sean Hannity? He lobbed some softballs to Trump last night, and a person close to the White House tells the LA Times Trump often calls Hannity right after the Fox News host's nightly show, and allies saying Trump's frustrated with Kelly, refusing to be managed, and he's started to call people more on the weekends from his cell phone. The White House disputes that report. Now, here are the two of them last night and in the past on the media and free speech.
Media is bad. They're really dishonest people. I call it fake media. It's fake. It's so much fake news. And we have to understand.
You agree with that? Fake news?
Truly dishonest people in the media and the fake media.
The alt-radical left, propaganda, destroy Trump media, they're on a mission to take down President Trump.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people.
Journalism is dead. You guys are done. You've been exposed as fake.
Fake media, fake news.
And for a president who can't seem to get on the same page with many people in his cabinet, he does sound unified with his friend Sean.
Your communities are being hurt because of illegal immigrants, crimes, and drugs that are coming across the border.
We will get the criminals out, the drug lords, the gang members. We're getting them out.
Obamacare itself is a single, fundamental, massive, big government failure.
Obamacare was one of the biggest broken promises in the history of politics.
When it comes to recognizing the violence that took place, and both sides were involved in the fighting.
Do you think there's blame? Yes, I think there's blame on both sides.
Americans don't want to see the flag and the national anthem disrespected.
For people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful.
I'm joined by Maya Wiley, a former counsel to the mayor of New York, now at the New School, and Margaret Carlson, a columnist for the Daily Beast. Maya, is this the secret chief of staff that Sean Hannity's the chief of staff Trump never had?
He's just the BFF Trump never had, I think, which is to say Donald Trump has always demonstrated that he is particularly interested in people who make him feel good about himself. I think what we've seen is Hannity has done that repeatedly by, as you said, throwing him softballs and generally supporting him no matter what he says or does, unless DACA, it departs from some fundamental conservative belief that Sean Hannity has, but otherwise has been one of his closest allies in the news media. And so I think what we're seeing is the way a president can be influenced by someone who supports him.
And Margaret, Steve Bannon got his campaign and ultimately White House job. It all started with interviews on Breitbart Radio.
Right. You know, you can also see Trump change his opinion to match Sean Hannity's. If Trump leaves the Hannity reservation, Trump will then adjust his positions as he did on DACA. Hannity, draws such a warm bath for Trump that he sometimes, has too much room, as he did last night, and he says things that don't add up. When he talked about, the missiles that we have that can block missiles in the air, we don't, two at a time. I don't think we really have that kind of defense, Star Wars defense system yet. And he brings up the stock market repeatedly, which, by the way, the stock market is covered pretty consistently on every news channel. And he says, well, the national debt is going down because the stock market has gone up so much. There's no relationship between the two. But Hannity would never, ever correct him. But this bromance, you know, doesn't work for Trump because he needs a John Kelly, as we saw at the beginning. He doesn't need a Sean Hannity. He needs somebody who brings him in within the guardrails, not lets him roam all over the place.
Well, Margaret, you make the great point that the relationship between Hannity and Trump is much closer than the relationship between our debt and our stock market. Here they were at the end getting really, you know, romantic.
I will say this. You have been so great, and I'm very proud of you. And, you know, I'm a ratings person. You notice I always talk. Okay. Has anyone seen his rating? I'm very proud of you. And it's an honor to be on your show. I have to tell you that, Joe.
First of all, Margaret, you never sign off our interviews like that.
No, I have to tell you,
I know
Ari,
you're not
it's
proud.
such an honor.
You're just
Yes.
not proud, and that's
Very
fine. You don't have to be
proud.
proud. You know, I don't know you that well. I know you well enough to make that joke. Margaret, what do you see there in the strategy of a president working with an ally in the press there who are both so committed, as we showed in the lead, to really degrading the factual reporting that's going on, in which we've seen a lot of Americans, he's talking about ratings, we've seen a lot of Americans embrace a lot of journalism since Trump's election, Washington Post, New York Times, ProPublica, and a lot of other places, because facts are so important right now. Your view of that part of this?
You know, if only we could go back to that long ago day when we all agreed on the basic facts. That seems to be gone. I hope it's only temporary. Trump would like to suspend the First Amendment for a while so he could straighten out the media, which hasn't gone his way. You know, can I bring up when John Kelly said today, I'm not so frustrated. I'm not so frustrated that I'm thinking of leaving. Back to you, Ari. If I said, Ari, I'm not so frustrated that I'm thinking of never being on your show again,
Yes.
I could be that frustrated.
Yeah,
right?
it's a tell. It's a linguistic tell.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That was not fake news. There we had John Kelly right in front of us, except to the extent it might have been a hostage tape where he was sent out to say these things.
Well, it had echoes of Sean Spicer, Maya, although I will say John Kelly is generally a more responsible and factual steward, although I was criticizing some of what he said earlier in the show. But it had that same thing of the Spicer thing where he'd be marched out there, and you got the feeling he just came out of a yelling Oval Office. And we know they've been shouting, if you believe the LA Times report, that Kelly's in a shouting match with him about these things.
Absolutely, but I don't think anyone takes a chief of staff job for a president of the United States and expects not to be yelled at once in a while.
Sure.
And I don't think that's enough to make a John Kelly quit. I think it's a more pertinent question whether Donald Trump is going to go after Kelly and try to push him out. That's actually a different issue from whether John Kelly himself will step back. But it's a hot seat job, and he's a person who can take the heat. So I think it would be wrong to count him out.
Yeah.
Yet.
Maya Wiley and Margaret Carlson, thank you both. Coming